Hey guys, this is Tina B.
And Charmaine G.
We're here to talk about the messiness of life. It's ugly.
And it's raw.
It's real.
And it's a freaking game.
It's whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
This is us.
And our gift to you.
Look at us. Do you?
Here we are.
We are live, literally, in person.
video.
We're in person. This is a landmark day for us. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, mostly for me, because Charmaine doesn't care. She doesn't mind being on video. And me, I don't like it. I'm not photogenic. Like, I'm comfortable with what I look like, just, you know. But I don't put a camera or a video camera. Like, there's shit that shows up on my face that's not, I don't know where it comes from.
Your whole aura, your whole face and everything, that's not going to come out right. But seriously, everything about you just shrinks when the camera's in front of you. And I mean, I'm talking about any kind of picture, cell phone. Thank goodness for filters, because when you got your Snapchat going, Tina came around the office and was dancing.
Oh
with
my
the camera.
gosh.
Let's take selfies.
First time in my whole life. They didn't have that crap when I was taking photos as a teenager.
So we will Snapchat after this and have it online.
Don't get crazy.
Tell
Okay,
me she's
here
not
we are.
beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
The reason why, I've been encouraging Tina is because when we're talking, her personality comes out in her hands a lot.
I do. You guys look at my hair. I got my rock and roll hair on and everything.
And I think you guys get to know her a lot more about not just the
your
voice.
rock and roll hair. Let the good times roll. Who's that? Do you know?
Hell no.
Sean does. Who sings that song?
I don't know.
Liar. It's the
Really?
Cars.
The Cars?
Lies and
The
big lies.
Cars.
Okay, here we are. It is Tuesday, January 26th, 2020. We're a minute into the new year. So it's I don't know. I'm feeling some stuff.
Tina, you guys, I'm
on
gonna lie
one
to you.
today.
This is
I
gonna
did.
be
I
a
had
good-
like 2 cups of coffee in the afternoon. I probably won't be sleeping tonight.
It'll be a good episode.
It should be. What's new with you? What'd you do this weekend?
Oh my gosh, this weekend. I want to say so many graphic things right now, but I'm going to hold back.
OMG.
I had a housewarming party. Tina held to her end of the bargain, you guys. Brought the beautiful design of, in my interpretation of the flower of life. And I have a beautiful talented by Tina Patrico. Wait, what do you?
That's it. Patrico.
I mean, you have 5 names. We've talked
I know.
about this.
Just Patrico and Jackson.
Patrico, Tina B. And it's beautiful. And all it took was having people over. And I have laughed.
She had to throw a party to receive artwork from me.
It's true. Sean,
Why
the chair
not?
didn't show up. Okay. We'll just have to put that online later.
God bless America.
America.
We're not talking about the chair today.
No,
Sean.
No. So Tina and I played a game with some...
With our partners.
With our partners.
Male. I feel like when you say partner now, it could be like...
Yeah, I'm into that too. I mean, okay, I'm not into that on air, but I think it's totally fine if people are into that.
Totally.
I think it's...
But I'm not.
So the game was That's What She Said. Who watches The Office? Raise your hand. Ronnie? Say, I like you even more now. Sean D? No, lame. Okay, you're watching me. Oh, I'm watching you. I'm watching me now. Okay, this is not going to be something I get used to, but long story short, That's What She Said. Very graphic. You got to be the judge, and you got to be as rude and crude as you can be and try to match the humor of the judge. And I'm not going to lie to you. Tina picked my card 1 out of 3 every time. That just shows.
And she picked mine. We are so synced up. It's not even funny.
are.
We laughed so hard. Our eyes were tearing. Our tummies hurt.
Peed my pants.
It was the funniest game ever. It's in the vein of Cards Against Humanity. And for people who don't know what that is, it's in the vein of Apples to Apples. So you have one person who draws a card, reads a sentence, and then everybody throws the best phrase card that they have to finish it off, and then the leader in that round chooses which one.
Yeah.
So it was so much fun. We laughed so hard. I literally, Greg and I have been in bed saying funny stuff. Okay.
My
I don't
answer
want to
the
get
next day.
too graphic, but one of them was, I like a salty rim. That was an option for an answer.
My
It
favorite
was
was
funny.
I like my meat warm and tender with a nice pink center.
Okay, so there's that. And it was lovely to be at your home.
Thank you.
I went to Charmaine's new house, and it's lovely, beautiful. It kind of looks like a museum a little bit. It doesn't look like people reside there because it's very neat, tidy, and clean.
Because you guys were coming over. Like, I worked my ass off all day that day.
You're so cute. I didn't mean to insult you.
I just want you to come over when life's real, because that was show. That was all show, because it came undone right after you guys left. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I went back to my house going, oh my gosh, I'm approaching hoarding level. Not really.
You seen my garage. It's half of it's in the garage still, to where I'm like, hey, you want something? Come and get it. You want it? You can have it.
Oh, I definitely tagged a couple of objects in her garage. So we did that this weekend. We went to Bryan Head on Sunday.
That looked fun.
Bryan Head, for those of you who are not from here, is the nearest ski resort up above Cedar City, Utah. And we went tubing. We do ski and snowboard, but this time we just went tubing. And I got to tell you, we had a freaking blast.
It looked
It was
fun.
19 degrees up there, and the
No,
flurries
thank you.
didn't stop for 4 hours. Well, at first I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going home. I'll wait in the car with some hot cocoa. But once we got in there,
You sweat your balls off.
well, yeah, you've got like layers and layers, and then you can't forget this. And God forbid you need to get something out of your pocket, because that's a whole other show. That's pulling gloves off and fishing around. Where did I put that? Oh, it's inside my bib overalls in the side pocket of my yoga pants. That's where my phone was, and I wanted to take pictures. Then getting it back in there. You look like you're molesting yourself. It is what it is. But we had so much fun.
Oh,
We did. We had a great time.
Good weekend. Good life. Life was good
my
to us this
gosh.
last week. Huh.
Life is perpetually good for me.
It's happening.
Honestly. And I know that and can say it with confidence, because life has not always been perpetually good for me.
You know the difference.
Yes.
Yep.
I know the opposite.
Opposition of all things. That's actually when you have a knowledge, and then how you apply it is the wisdom piece. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yep. So I think you're blessed, because next week when it's time to check in, it may be different. Life happens, you know. But
Don't attract
I'm
that.
not. I know. I seriously just freaking vaporized cursed you. I'm so sorry.
Not me.
I know. Not me either.
Going strong.
Not me either.
Hanging in there tough.
With that being said,
Charmaine is eating licorice. We're on the air.
it looks good. Show me your tongue, Tina. Okay, I gotta tell you.
That's my
funny.
Aussie tongue. My kiss tongue.
So, Jer loves Napoleon Dynamite, and introduced my kids to Napoleon Dynamite.
Say it. Go ahead. Let's get that over with. Let's get that over with. It's not.
Eat your food,
it's
Tina,
not
you fat
original.
lard. Hold on, no. Myra says it. I just got to tell you, my sweet little 9-year-old, and she doesn't even. Right now I feel horrible because you're looking at me like demon eyes, but
I wonder what you're teaching your children about me.
I
is all.
laugh. Not you. There's many Tinas.
In your life?
Tina the freaking llama. But when she says it, though, she says it with such venom that you can't help but to laugh. And then quickly right after, I'm like, you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't say that.
Oh my gosh, that stuff's funny. Just like when your kid swears. I mean, it's not like you want to be like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
But like I go into the bathroom and just start cackling. I mean,
What is the age that, like my son kind of had not a stutter or anything, but a little bit of impediment, and we're in the back of church, and truck was, boop, Sean, ring the bell, F word, and I purposely would be like, what do you want, honey? So he would say it over and over and over again. And I thought it was hilarious, and everybody else, they laughed because of his age, but there's that window when you have to correct them to let them know the world's not okay with it. And then when they start to get into that 9-10 years of age, you want to bond with them like you're cool and stuff.
I
And
want to
so-
do that with my adult clients. Like I'll throw an F word and they're like, oh,
I like her.
I do like her.
Because she'll come down.
Right. Because then I can relate to them and tell them.
However, when is it okay to say, kids, you're cool to cuss because you're adult
I don't
now.
know that it ever is, but I will say that there's a different standard with my kids than there was when I was growing up. Because if I got caught saying the F word, which flew out of my mouth, once I was like 11 or 12.
You knew what it meant.
Well, I didn't really. I just knew if you said the F word, you were going to get attention.
Oh, here it comes.
Sean D.
My child doesn't swear.
Never.
Until I heard him say the C word.
Oh, my
That's
God,
the
me.
worst.
That's
That's not even a cuss word.
That's not
like,
beginner cussing.
Horrible.
At all.
Oh, no,
You
no.
work
He
up
went,
to that.
He went postgraduate right away.
Seriously, where did he hear that?
Well, I mean, even the context was like, okay, let's discuss this word. So
Yeah.
we had a little chit chat.
Do you know what that is?
Do I know?
No.
Yes, I do.
Did he know what that was?
He had a small education afterwards.
Okay.
So we had a discussion.
Was he quite like, I'm not going to say that again, or was that his language?
I think I described it in a way to let him make his own decision.
So I always ask
And
my
what
kids,
decision did he make?
I don't know. I haven't heard him since.
Oh, well, that's good.
What a
I
good
one
parenting
time-
technique.
One time sent a voice memo to Marissa from Samantha. And Marissa was at the movies with her friend, Albert. They were just friends. And she and I were like laying on my bed just being goofy. And I recorded her saying, "How's the movie, bitch?" She was like 6 or 7. I didn't teach her that.
It's quiet, uncomfortable. Moving on. No.
No. So I sent it, and Marissa had to leave the theater because she was laughing so hard. And to hear, and like Samantha didn't pronounce her R's when she was young. She speaks well now, but when she was little, she would call Marissa like Mawissa, you know? And so when she said that, it came out in this, it was very, very funny. It was something we re-listened to over and over, and it was very funny.
I hope you can find it because I'd love to hear it.
I have it somewhere, I think, on my computer, perhaps.
The first question I ask my kids as soon as they, like, Landon says, they said the dip S word this morning. I'm like, dipshit? Because I was clarifying. He's like,
I
yeah.
like it. I like
And
his
I'm like,
style.
You shouldn't say that. I mean, like, at
The
the same
dip
time.
S word.
Yeah, the dip S word. But he'll go behind closed doors with his headphones on playing video games and F this, F that. And I open the door. I'm like, who are you talking to like that? You know, and I said, where are you hearing this? And he's like, he just freezes because I don't drop bombs like that in front of my kids. However, though, it's the rite of passage. You can hear it anywhere with
Yes.
his, because he's 11.
Please, you can hear it on a TikTok video. You can hear any social media outlet or whatever where they go to listen to certain
Not
things.
the C word.
No, not the C word.
I mean, I don't know what.
No,
goes on
I
in
just
your
think it's
home,
funny when
but-
like a little kid. There was a show I was watching. It's called Grace and Frankie on Netflix. Have you heard of that show? Their daughter has a little girl who's like 4, and she's at the sink washing her hands, and her like step grandfather comes in, and she goes, "This fucking guy," and she was just washing her hands on a stool in a pink hoodie. With her little butt cheeks were about that big. She was like 4 years old, and she was all.
Why? Is
He
that
comes
so
in and she
funny?
goes, "This fucking guy." That's funny. I don't care who you are. That I rewound it like 4 or 5 times.
We do not teach just principles on this show.
No,
we
these
do
are
the
adults
occult
having adult conversations. I forget that disclaimer like every
all
time.
the time, all the time.
We're thinking about maybe redoing our intro, and I'll have to just make that a part of that so we don't have to remember to say
That's
it.
a good call. So about 10 minutes in before the segue into our second half, let's drop the topic because I feel like we could cover this. I mean, I want to
my
reach out
word.
to the world on
Agreed.
this one. You know what I'm saying? Insecurity. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so
Okay, can I ask you, if I were to say, Tina, what are you insecure about? First thing that comes to your mind.
having my picture taken.
Oh, that
covered that
I
in
shouldn't have
detail.
known that one. Okay, second then.
This came up today that we had a meeting at work, that it was an all staff meeting, and we got the email that was like, we have a meeting every Wednesday anyway, but this one was
All
special. There's an all-staff meeting at 3 p.m. on Monday. Clear your calendar. Does that evoke, like,
Intimidation.
immediately? Now, I want to say this
No.
because this is the important part of this topic, that I do my job.
Well,
Like, I'm good at it. I have a lot of confidence. I'm secure in what I'm doing. I don't need a lot of supervision. I'm a self-starter. Like, it's like, I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I'm saying that because that is not congruent with the feeling I got that we're having an all-staff meeting.
In an email.
Why do you want everybody in the same room when we meet once a week, for the most part? I'm not bagging on it. I'm just saying there's a different thing about it. There's like a whole, oh shit is hitting the fan. Shit is hitting the fan.
What did I
Somebody's
do?
getting fired. They know I was late the other day. Like, all this stuff starts coming up for me. And then I start going, well, they have to write me up a couple of times before they can actually really like lay me off. Like, it goes, I'll take that to the nth degree.
Do you think you were the only one?
Hell no. I went and talked to my cohort and I said, the all staff meeting, does anybody know what that's about? And she was like, hell no, I don't. Are you sure you don't know? No, I don't know either.
You know,
maybe we're all getting fired. Like, it was a whole thing, but it brought up, I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, it brought up everything. Like, I should have finished getting my degree. Like, it's all this stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Come on. I'm like, okay. They've got somebody lined up for my position. I'm probably going to have to get an EBT card. I know
how to apply for benefits
I might have to do some very hard work for gas. I don't know. I get that way. It gets like that for me. So, yes.
Over an email, clear your calendars.
Oh, please, it takes nothing to set that part of me off. Now, keep in mind, I've mentioned this 100 times before. I did not grow up in a home that was like, I had girlfriends and like, I'd maybe be at their house after school and their mom would have like milk and cookies.
Oh, good moms.
Anyway, or snacks, or there was a bottle of whipped cream and we'd be eating that. Like, that shit did not go on in my house. My mom would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Put that back. It's expensive.
It's dinner time.
It was expensive.
I only buy it to
That's
look
for
at
company. Okay. So when your mother says that's for company in like a really, that's for company, you immediately feel what? Well, I'm not as good as company. I mean, I fucking live here and I do the dishes. I vacuum.
No,
but the whipped cream's
you did
for
not
company. The coffee
earn
cake, that's
the
for
whipped
company.
cream. You did not earn it.
No, I didn't.
So
Apparently.
you're saying your mom created your insecurities? Is what you're saying?
My mother, God rest her soul. I don't want to blame her. Let's just blame it all on my dad.
Okay, that works. So no, in all actuality, you're not born with them. You're not born with these insecurities.
No.
Okay, ask me.
I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
Along those lines.
Okay.
Like, I remember going to my girlfriend's house and the girl would be like, I'm gonna join the swim team. And the mom would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you right now. Like, I can't even believe you took the initiative. You are so, and then my mom would be like, where are you getting money for the uniform? Who's taking you there and back? Who do you think you are? What do you think this is, the YMCA?
Right.
Like, that's the way, there's two different versions of that. So I wanted to say that to set the tone for, I don't come from that. I give that to my children now because I feel like I broke that cycle.
Good
There's
call.
still that edge
Good
to
call.
me, but when my kids come to me with something that they're proud of, I don't put it down.
You
like,
don't stomp
no, my
it.
parents
Yeah.
were like, what?
Yeah.
Don't ever come in the house crying.
Well,
My
that's
dad
hard
took
to
me
please.
out back and taught me to box.
Yeah.
That's some quality parenting.
Well, you maybe thought that you're going to need that skill someday, so you might as well learn how to beat the shit out of everybody.
Right, and they weren't like turn the other cheek. I mean, and we went to church. Like, I know,
Yeah.
turn the other cheek.
yeah, eye for an eye too.
No, but he's like, if you turn the other cheek, they're going to hit that one too. Be prepared. Put up your
Speaking
jukes.
of cheek, before we get going, my daughter taught me a lesson. I'm not going to lie to you. 9 years of age, we're playing with her. We're acting like we're going to put her in the freezer. Yeah, it sounds weird, but it was all in fun.
You told your child you were going to put her in the freezer?
It's going to go the wrong way, no matter however I say it.
Who's scared
I gave her a
for
wedgie.
Charmaine's children?
Don't be. I'm a good mom. We were giving her a wedgie, and I'm like,
We?
I'm going to put you in the freezer.
Who's we?
Yeah, okay, no, get back on track here. I'm trying to prove a point.
Okay, sorry, I'll be quiet.
And speaking of eye for eye, don't turn the other cheek. She full on punches me, closed fist, like a pop. And I hit my teeth, like good on my teeth. And I thought, what the hell? And I didn't say it. I shocked and I was like, you don't ever hit your mom like that. And I thought for a second, I was like,
Your 8-year-old
clocked me in the face, like a go on, like no holds barred. No blood, no anything.
What provoked her?
She literally thought I was going to put her in the freezer because she cried and she melted down, and I went and soothed her in the corner for a while. But I sat there for a second, stunned, like, and I said, I'm so proud of her. Like, literally, she is going to be able to beat the shit out of somebody. Like, if they ever mess with her, I did good.
Totally get that. We
You
were
know?
talking about that the other night at dinner.
Yeah.
And this is my thing, is that I saw somebody in Michael's the other day, and her little girl was no bigger than a minute, and she was just telling her mom, why are we doing that? Why can't I have that? Well, I have other things for you. What are those other things? Like, she was just giving her mom the business, you know? And it reminded me of one of my children, Samantha. But what I know about that, what you were saying about that, about Myra, is that that stuff used to tick me off, that brand of independence when you don't have a job.
Right.
When I'm still feeding you. Without me, you would be nothing, right? Mm-hmm. But now that she's an older girl, she's assertive. She's not afraid to tell somebody, nope, I'm not doing that. Absolutely not.
Right. Well, and I have to say, to the contrast of that, Myra is a very soft, sensitive, gentle person that's a pleaser. Like, she really, really, she just wants to please. And when she
I'm sorry, I just saw her
me,
little fist.
Yeah, like a woman.
She
too.
clocked you.
Like a woman. I haven't been pushed like that since high school. And boom, like bounced off my teeth. And I was proud of her, and she never knew I was proud of her. I'm never going to tell her, like, but at the same time, I instantly thought of her at 16 years of age, and me and her just rolling on the ground.
Oh, that will probably
I was
happen.
like, oh, shit. Like, she may kick the out of me, you know, but in all actuality, she's not insecure.
We were painting Samantha's room yesterday, me and my 2 daughters, and we were talking about something Samantha said to me over a year ago that was very hurtful. Okay. She was in a place where she was just like anti-parents or authority of any kind. She's moved past it. But, and I said to her, you have to realize, she was like, oh, I didn't mean it. And I said, when you hurt somebody's feelings and you say something like that, you have to like
back
assess
it up.
and look. Because when you hurt somebody, it's not fun and games anymore. You've hurt somebody, and that needs your attention.
Sometimes it doesn't come back. Like, sometimes you can't take it back, and it stains you. You know, like, we were talking to one of our clinicians outside when we were leaving, and said, what are you insecure about? Just try to get fillers out, because 90% of the people will give you a physical trait, a physical attribute that they're insecure about.
Their boobs aren't big enough. Their legs are too short.
His was intelligence. And I
Now
thought,
get out, not JD, another JD.
Yeah. But seriously, I thought, wow, why would he even go there? Because, like, he's one of the brilliant men I know. And then he talked about how it started for him as a peer of his said he had a dog nose. And so his teachers would call him D- Davy.
What's a dog nose?
Oy vey, people, realize what you say hurts.
We'll be back.
This is Whack-A-Mole with Tina B and Charmaine G. Raw discussion about the messiness of life. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more Whack-A-Mole. we welcome you back to Whack-A-Mole, raw discussions about the messiness of life. Now, here are your hosts, Tina B and Charmaine G.
I'm all alone in the studio. Psych, everyone. Just kidding. Tina ran out to the car for her notes because we were winging it. Not really, because we can fly anything off the cuff. But to buy some airtime, we have a guest with us in the studio. She's actually an observer because she's like getting into the field of podcasting herself. She feels like, hey, what do I want to put out there? But instantly, I was attracted to her item, her topics of what's your experience buying a home? Loaded freaking gun. That's all I got to say. Ronnie, can I use you?
Yeah.
Thank you. I love using people. Hey.
Thank you.
So, insecurity.
Insecurity.
First word.
It's also intelligence.
Really?
Yes.
Weird.
You said 90% of people think of a trait, and I'm like, oh, what trait was it?
Yeah. Is it my teeth? Is it my butt?
Is it my 40-year-old wrinkle? No. but you said that, and I was like, oh, what is it? But because the very first thing that I thought was, it's not appearing as intelligent as I want to be. Like, I want to know. I really want to be competent about whatever it is that I'm talking about, or whatever the conversation is.
So you don't come off you don't feel like you come off smart enough.
Yeah. Well, it's always do I appear? Do I appear as I'm coming off smart enough? And
do you think you're smart enough?
Yes. Wow. I want other people to think I'm smart enough too.
That makes so much sense, and that's actually in the top 5.
Oh, really?
Of what people are
what people think.
Yeah. Well, I want people to think I'm smart enough.
Yeah. Right.
I want people to think I'm smart enough. Hence why Tina went into her spiral. It doesn't take much, but when she went into her spiral, you're welcome. All I did was say we need to have an all staff, and she's like, shit. And
I was standing in the bread line.
And for real. Seriously, Jay texted me afterwards, like, how did it go? I'm like, pretty good. Everybody thought they were getting fired, or like I was going to fire people. That's weird. I do not put off that vibe at all. And she's absolutely right. We work for the government, so it takes layers upon layers to fire people, actually. But intelligence is a huge thing because so many people, and we identified this in a professional setting, feel like the acronym behind your name, it identifies your intelligence.
That's true.
And that's unfortunate because there's so much experience that you can gain, not just the street smart, not just the skill set of whatever it is, office management or anything, time management, skills like that. But interpersonal skills, you can really do anything. If you can know how to talk to people and reach people, you can work in any industry. And that's unkept.
Yes, there's an aspect of that you can't learn in a textbook. Most of what I do on a daily basis with my clients is just some street stuff that I've learned. It comes from my experience, strength, and hope. It comes from having to tap into resources in our community, needing a helping hand. And none of that stuff was stuff I learned but while I was going through that, the person that was sitting in my chair, like me, I used to think, what do you know? Like because you have that certificate or whatever, now you know how I feel about.
So it's a double stigma going on.
Yeah.
Huh.
I felt, like I was being judged a lot and just things like that.
That's very common. Like whenever you're on a low, that you think anybody that you feel is above you is judging you. And then that could be a parental, that could be a teacher, that could be a peer, but generally it depends on where you're at in life. But insecurities you're not born with them.
No, they're trained.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the cool things.
Nature versus nurture, environmental versus,
Yeah. So many things.
I'm going to look this up.
Contribute to that.
Okay, so I have some notes. I don't like reading them verbatim, but there's some really good stuff in here. Hiding our insecurities are a futile effort as they are only temporary solutions. We usually cannot hide something we are insecure about 100% of the time. And even if we could, it would be exhausting.
Uh-huh.
Because you have to put as much energy into covering crap up which is dishonest, like to put on that facade. And then you have to remember the facade. Like, what did I tell Ronnie as opposed to what I might have
Right.
told her to make myself feel better?
Juggling the
Would I
secrets.
say something different to Charmaine because of the level of our friendship than I would to Ronnie because I don't really know her yet? Like, it's all such a fake out, man. It's such a
mask.
fake out.
And it's anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
Like, like you can work yourself up so much trying to
Manage the lies,
what other
yeah.
people think.
Oh my
And you just can't do it.
gosh. When you've got that negative little midget on your shoulder that's already telling you that you're not good enough and you're everybody's watching you and looking at you and fail. But then honestly, when you're doing it yourself, it's like inking it and not just penciling
Big time.
it in.
Big time.
I'm going to add this really quick because I thought it was pretty freaking cool. It says, whatever caused your insecurity initially, it's your habits that are keeping you feeling insecure. So we're creating that habitual mind routine, so to speak. How many times have you heard a male, female, doesn't matter, how come I keep attracting the same kind of people?
Oh my goodness. That's a whole podcast in itself.
Yeah.
There is so
What's wrong
much to
with
say
me?
about that. Yes.
Yeah. My magnet's off. And I'm like, yeah, it is. That's called insecurity. Like, you will lower yourself because that's how you feel. And you're going to attract that over and over and over again until you feel better about yourself.
So this is huge. I had, as a member of a 12-step program, I had somebody tell me back in the 90s when I first ventured out into that 12-step program that once you start to look at the hard facts of your dishonesty, all of this behavior, whether it be insecurity driven or driven by anything else, it's all just behavior. Once you look at that for what it is and start to heal that part of yourself, you start to attract different people.
Oh, yeah.
And that is 100% true for me. It took a long time.
Yeah.
Because I've been tangled up with some idiots for sure. Some people, some men who, men who didn't have a lot of respect for women because that's what I was raised with. I'm not blaming it on anybody. I'm just saying that I
you
was
had
shown
choice.
that. And so and then I couldn't not do it because I didn't know anything else. But once I started to know more things,
And value yourself.
huge, I attracted a completely different person. Not just men, women too. People that were coming into my life that I would once admire. That quality of somebody, I'm like, oh, that's not my caliber. Like, I don't got no business being with the people who pay their bills on time.
What I like most about you, Tina B, like, I am never going to be honest. No, what I like about you is that you're so honest to the core and transparent that it radiates, and it makes others want to be that way too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I know it's taken a journey to get there. Not only do we know secrets keep us sick, but I mean, it rocks our integrity to where it's harder to come out and create those habits. I'll tell you what, I've not always been on the up and up, meaning that my heart's changed. And when that happened, I verbally had to make and consciously had to make efforts to be vulnerable and open with honesty and say, you know what, I'm not okay with this, or I don't like this, or my favorite is whenever I get more change than what I'm supposed to, and by the second window, I'm giving it back to them, and they're looking at me like, why are you giving me money? And I'm like, because I'm not going to hell for like $1. Like, integrity is important to me, buddy.
Yes.
It took me a fight, and my fingernails are gone, clawing myself out of hell to care about my honesty. And that ties to my security of who I feel like I am.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And once I started to show people who I really was, not only was there huge freedom in that, huge freedom, there's also, you're honoring your own integrity. When you're trying to be something that you're not, I don't care who you are, that's dishonest.
It's going to catch up with you.
It will catch up with you. It's a facade. It's an acting role. It's not authentic. So once I learned that you guys saw me at the beginning of the podcast. I can be a total basket case, and I'm fine with that.
Right.
I am 100%
I'm
fine
totally
with that.
fine with it, too.
I'm fine with exactly what's going on in my life right now. I feel secure about it. I feel I'm happy in it. But it took me decades. Like my 20s were horrible. I mean, my mom had just died and I was just trying to cling on to whatever friends. But it really wasn't until I got into recovery of sorts that I started to peel back some of those layers. And I was like, God made this. He made this. And who are you to say that it's not good enough for other people? And then ultimately, the more mature I got and more the decades went by, and at my age, in the 5th decade of my life, I'm like, I don't need your approval. And by doing that, it's paradoxical because by doing that, I got exactly what I was seeking when I was not being authentic.
You know what's interesting is when you actually can peel the layers and you're maybe in a one-on-one conversation and you talk about, man, I'm really insecure about my butt, like the cheese and the dimples. I mean, I don't even have to do anything there. I think, like I buy all these creams and I massage it like they tell you to do online and they're still freaking there. And like I don't want anybody to see my butt.
It's unlovable. That's
Butt is unlovable.
You know what I mean?
My
That's
butt
what
is
goes on
unlovable.
in
What
my
the
head.
hell?
That's not
Really?
lovable.
Look at my butt.
But I've seen your butt.
I'm just kidding.
It's not bad.
I'm only saying that because in our mind, like we make it up. In all actuality,
totally.
we make those things up. And why I say that is because when you get to talk to somebody one-on-one and you actually talk about, and you're in a safe place, you can talk yourself out of that insecurity. You can feel where it derived from. Where did it come from? And what are you going to do about it? Live like this unhappy? To be honest with you, I can express to you one of my biggest things I'm going to do this next week is ask everybody, Sean, what is your biggest insecurity? Right off the top of your head. I think this is a good experiment.
I don't know.
Lame. Okay, you get 2
Lies.
seconds to talk about it.
Pure
He does too.
lies.
He does
No,
too.
I've grown out a lot of my insecurities.
How?
I have, just by dealing with them and then not worrying about stuff.
Airing it.
Not even airing it, just being like, okay, I'm okay.
Accepting
I'm
of it.
okay with this. I'm this. I'm okay with that.
Accepting of
Okay.
it. Sometimes it takes airing it and talking about it, but when you accept some faults that you may have,
Who said they were faults?
well, I did.
Insecurity doesn't have to be a fault.
It does not. Thank you for clarifying that. But in your mind, it's a negative space.
It has been, yes.
Okay. So when you tie it together and you're able to accept that, you're really getting in your own skin. Like you're really coming into maturity level to where that's where you want to be in life. Working through those insecurities and realizing it's a step, it's the next step. If you've conquered them all and somebody doesn't trigger your insecurities, then I'm pretty sure that you've made it.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm getting sad.
Why?
Because now I'm thinking about the insecurities I wasn't thinking about before.
Oy
Thanks a lot for
vey.
nothing.
Oy
Gee.
vey.
He was fine.
Take me
until-
down that
My
path.
gosh, Shawnee Sean. Okay, then what are you insecure about?
You're insecure that you don't have insecurities?
Yeah, that's it. No, I think people who I have to work for their appreciation for,
Okay.
my bosses, people who can make a decision and destroy my life,
Yep. The pressure.
like the 3:00 meeting that we don't know what's going to happen. So I worry about making sure that those who are in authority figures that control my livelihood,
Yeah.
that they're happy,
Yeah.
that what I'm doing is okay for them. So I'm always worried about that.
Okay. I'm going to tie that in because when Tina came in and going, am I going to get fired? And I'm like, where is this coming from? She goes, I don't know. Do you ever, like, if you don't know what something's going on and you're kind of like in the dark about something, you create paranoia? I'm like, every month I do that, like right before I start my period. I'm not alone in this? And she just looks at me like,
I don't
what's
get one of those
Well, how many
anymore.
times have you guys
I'm
been
just in
fired?
a perpetual state of insecurity.
I've never been
Tina, how many
fired.
times have you been fired?
Oh my gosh. One time when I was 18 years old.
How many times have you been laid off?
Never.
Never, Charmaine?
Never. Neither.
Okay. Well, that one time of being fired, that's enough to kind of, I've been fired.
Trauma.
I've been fired and let go a number of times. It's radio. So it's happened to me at 5:05 in the morning in the parking garage. Hey, we don't need you anymore. Give us your key card.
Oh, So you're like on
yeah.
one eye open.
Yeah, yeah.
Traumatizing. That's like somebody yanking the rug.
Oh, that was the
literally.
Okay, no.
Out from underneath
That's when
your
the
feet.
cops came to have me escorted out of the building.
What?
Yeah.
That's a
Sean,
good
what did
It's
you
a whole
do,
story.
man?
You see, everybody says that. What did I do?
What's her name?
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
But when I told people in town that I was working what had happened, their response was, "Yeah, that guy does that to people." It was known for him to pull the rug out on New Year's Eve because, hey, if I fire this guy, it makes the books look good for the next quarter.
That's insane. What kind of a person is that?
But I tell people the story outside the area, and they say, "What did you do?" So
That makes sense.
when that came out of my mouth, I felt fraudulent to the topic. And I'll tell you why. Because I assumed you did something.
you might as well
because
ask
of,
me how I was dressed.
Because of his actions. But I know you, and I know you have integrity, and I know you have value in this field of work. It's your life.
Yeah.
Passionate.
And
So,
so
I
being,
apologize.
being that passionate, I butt heads with other people who are in control of that business. So my passion interferes with their authority.
So the threat of them having the decision of your livelihood
Yeah.
creates insecurity. I get that.
Because it takes away not just my livelihood, but it takes away my ego and myself because I invest in what I'm doing. So if somebody pulls it out, then it's not just you're fired, it's you hate and have destroyed everything that I've poured my heart into. It's
And
like
you
it's
know
a
how that
breakup, it's a
feels.
divorce. It's
Oh yeah,
horrible.
your identity's lost.
Yeah.
You know how that feels, and you've had to pick yourself back up. So
I've been here at the college for 10 years. I still worry about it. I was nominated.
Nothing valid. For
I was
that.
nominated for staff member of the year. I get constant
And the next
positive
day you were
feedback.
thinking, boy, I'm going to be on the breadline.
Yes, I always worry about that. It's always in the back of my mind. I'm like,
Target
Totally.
now,
I
my
got the best
back.
gig in my life.
Because when
But I'm
we
still worried.
work, we go into the job. This is for me only. I go into the job. I'm going to give my best. I'm passionate about it, or I would about the work, or I would not have applied for it. Now, I will tell you, sidebar. There have been times that I took a job because I needed the money, and those were the jobs I was the most unhappy being in. Because
Those just
I
ended
was
up on VHS. It's okay.
Thanks, Sean. Are you a
Download
fan?
99 cents.
Actually, it was a Betamax I got. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, 1982. Anyway, I know that because I had one in 1982. My parents did. So I was kind of on a roll here.
Jobs you had to take
Yeah.
just to make it.
And I know that because the person who hired me, I had no respect for them, but I hung out. There's a local restaurant in town. I'm not going to say the name. It's one of the better restaurants, been here for a while. They serve great food. It was very easy to sell their food. That was my business for a long time. I loved interacting with people. I loved giving perfect service. I loved it. And I made a lot of money doing it. Okay. They were the biggest assholes to work for. They call themselves a mom and pop. What do you think when you say mom and pop? You think
Like a-
the dad's out there in the back
Yeah, like an
sweeping.
honest
and
family, low
they're like,
diner,
hey,
yeah.
Tina, welcome. We're so happy to see you. These people were jerks, man. And so it was difficult to work for them. But I sacrificed my integrity and what I knew I needed emotionally, mentally, whatever, and they were not going to deliver. It was a lose-lose situation. Okay. Now I've gone into other jobs like the one I'm currently in where I immediately felt valued in the interview. And then I felt valued when I got the call that I got the job. I continue to feel valid every day. And it's not until I think about it. I had a conversation with somebody today that said, around here, not at the job. It was at a past job I called and I was like, oh, my name's Tina B. And I used to work there and, oh yeah. And why did you leave? And I said, I just needed something. I needed to stretch out a little bit. I needed something new. I needed to grow. And there were no opportunities there. Well, she just went on a rant. Tell me there aren't. I can't get full time. I'm underused and overqualified and I know that. I know that
It's
feeling.
almost like leave no man behind. feeling.
No, and when you love your job, what these dipshits don't know is that when you love your job, you're attracting business to you. You're attracting it.
And you're
we
going to
get
be amazing at it when
Yes.
you actually love your job. And I mean, that's one thing you can't be taught.
No.
That internal feature. I want to add to, I'm looking at your cheat sheet that you have over here with the emotional insecurity, and Sean, like your pictures on here. I don't know if she added copy and I'm just kidding. No,
I superimposed that in there.
It says if you're triggered by perceiving oneself to be vulnerable or inferior in some way, or a sense of vulnerability or instability which threatens one's self-image or ego. So you feel threatened, that you always live in that fear stage. And that's just an emotional insecurity.
There's a difference there, though, between self-image and ego.
Yeah.
Because ego is a fake out. Ego is
a
that
mask.
constant chatter box in the back of your head that will not shut up. It will take you either way. It's
Cool.
It will either be... It will either take you in a. It's gonna tell it. If you feel good, it's gonna tell you shouldn't. If you feel bad, it should tell you you're a loser. You should feel better than you do right now. That's a lose-lose, and that's the chatterbox that I'm just like, thank you, bye. She has a name, too.
What's her
Go
name?
over there, Maria.
Maria. Whoa, she sounds like a.
She's named after a woman that I knew in my 20s, who was the most horrible person. From a moral, ethical, intellectual, she was horrible.
Freaking Maria.
She was a thief. She stole jewelry from people. Like, she was just a disaster. Anyway,
Intimidating.
so she's the worst image, and that's the name of hers. So I just go, okay, Maria, you're done.
Maria, leave me alone,
So,
Maria.
but the difference between what they're saying here, self-image and ego. So the ego's a fake out. Self-image is, this is
How you feel
my
about
my
yourself.
definition. Don't email me that, you found some Freudian crap from the 50s that you need to enlighten me about. This is my opinion. Self-image is something that you create through yourself. And the only way we can do that, which is what I teach my clients every day, is self-esteem.
Uh-huh.
What do we do to gain self-esteem? Now, there's a difference. We work in the field of probation. We monitor people and try to keep them compliant with what the court is asking. We kind of get in there as a liaison and help them and make these resources available to them so that they can be successful. So, but some of them say, just tell me what I need to do to look good in front of the judge.
No depth.
Nope, you're done. We're not about... I'll tell them, I'll make a list and you can just check it off as you go.
Yep. That's a
But
Band-Aid.
what we're really here to do, we're
Band-Aid.
here to do things that make us feel good about who we are. When you get up in the morning, and as a drug addict, if you're strung out and you're newly sober, going and filling out paperwork is overwhelming. Going to the grocery store, getting your kids off to school, like all
Looking
these
for a
little
job that
tasks
you've been
are
told no.
so overwhelming. And the only way that they stop being overwhelming is practice. And when you do them, I get that self-esteem. Sean's not going to give me self-esteem if he tells me, I think you're the best podcaster in the world. I mean, you're free to say that. But
I think
feel
you're
free.
the best podcaster in the world.
I believe it. Oh my! I believe it.
Two
Thank
dings
you.
for that
That's
one.
funny, Sean, and that's cool. But I have to do the work.
Yeah.
He can say that. If I don't feel good about what I'm putting
Right.
out there, then it's
Your
not going.
belief
I'm not going to
system,
get any
it's-
self-esteem out of that.
Your belief system is what you build, and if you have somebody that's telling you something that you don't believe about yourself, you can't even penetrate that wall.
No, it's an inside job.
Yep, and it can change. So, I want people to look through this next entire week and say, do I even like myself, and what do I like and what do I not? Because one of the biggest factors that we put out there in our work that we do is it's a strength-based approach. You can be told many, many times you're a piece of shit, you're never going to make it, in and out, you're black and
Or
white
the
on
opposite.
paper.
You're great. You're wonderful. You're this. You're that.
Exactly. So it has to come from within. It's not an overnight thing. It's a process. But my biggest thing that I learned from a young age, that when I started to care, was put yourself around people. If you're not able to do it yourself, put yourself around people that you can exemplify from. You can gain that experience.
people
from.
that have what you want.
Yeah.
That's a
you
huge-
attract yourself to them.
Yes.
Find them. Okay, listeners,
Let's start attracting better,
Viewers!
integral people in our life.
viewers, beat the insecurity. Become who you want to be.
Thanks for joining us.
Oy vey!
You've been listening to Whack-A-Mole with Tina B and Charmaine G. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Watch us on YouTube and subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Join us next time for, well, whatever may happen with Tina B and Charmaine G on Whack-A-Mole. This has been a production from a podcast studio.